Hello and welcome to episode 19 of Rough Around the Edges, brought to you by Roughneck Games. I am Joe, and with me are Jarv.
Hello.
Dan.
Hello.
And Dane.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
All right, so dig in. What are you playing right now?
Let's
start with, because we want to tackle some of these new games. What are you playing right now? I think you're both playing The Division.
Yeah, I've been playing The Division quite a bit lately, and I've also, they remade Master of Orion.
Oh, right. I forgot about
that. That really took over quite a bit of my time, although it's early access, so thankfully I haven't gotten hopelessly addicted to that yet.
When is
but
it
for the
officially
listeners,
released?
that's the game that stole my soul when I was a child.
Well,
and all the kids would come over from the neighborhood and want me to come outside and play tag and all that jazz. And I was like, no,
Screw you.
sorry.
You're commanding
trying to
civilization.
take over the galaxy.
I had a situation like that where my friends came over, and the best excuse I came up with on the spot was, I don't have any clean socks, so I can't come out and play.
Deal breaker.
And they were
really
like,
into this
they
game
gave
right
me
now.
shit for that for so many years, and I was just like,
As they should.
Whatever.
oh, I know.
You just got to be honest.
I don't have socks.
I value video games over your friendship.
Master of Orion.
Yeah, this serpent alien's being a big old dick about everything,
That's
and
right.
I need to take care of it. All right?
Yeah.
So
And
go
it
play.
has the voice of Q, right? So
It does. And
Well,
Worf.
the humans do.
Well.
Not the snake. I don't know what snake.
But I
aliens you
meant
were
the
talking
game in
about.
general has.
They're lizards.
The reptile people
Yeah, the
that spread like
reptile-
Oh, the
crazy.
Sacra?
Yeah.
Oh, they're such a bunch of
Those who
dicks.
control us secretly.
The true shape-shifting lizards.
Yes.
Hill dog?
That's right.
Oh, God.
They're not smart enough in that game for
Nice,
that.
right.
It was actually I think we've talked about this before, but it was actually some crazy guy that first predicted that, and somehow it spun off, and like this pop culture reptilians control shape-shifting reptilians.
Yeah, there's
dear
some
some
God.
crazy
dwelling,
person who.
and they come out of Denver Airport. It's a big old thing.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Hillary
Wasn't
Clinton-
that a
I guess
TV
he was a
show?
well enough
Didn't
known
they do
person
that?
that
V?
people just
Wasn't it-
bounce
yeah.
off.
Yeah,
V.
it was V.
Oh,
but I don't
yeah,
know,
V.
I don't know if
Canceled
it
after
was-
one season or whatever.
Marina Baccarin?
Yeah.
Wait, they were
Oh.
shape-shifting lizards?
Yeah, well, yeah,
Well, they were dressed up as humans,
Yeah, they had.
Oh, but they were
They were able
aliens.
to
They were aliens.
Yeah.
conceal.
Right?
but they were lizards.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
But
yeah.
isn't the conspiracy that alien lizards?
No, I think these are like underdwellers.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they like live under the Earth's crust.
They're here
and-
right now.
Yeah, like Hillary Clinton's the highest ranking surface dweller. That's what the conspiracy says.
Oh, okay.
Even higher than Bill.
Yes.
Which
But
makes the
they're-
90s
but they're
all the
both
more
reptilians.
controversial.
She wears the suit pants in the
She
relationship.
does wear the suit pants.
Wow.
Boom. Corny joke.
All right.
So yes,
Anywho.
but,
Yeah.
but Q is the
Reason
master of
right
the
by
humans, not the reptilians.
Yeah.
But who else? What the other voice actors? Alan Tudyk, right?
Yeah, Alan's on there.
he the lizard?
Worf you mentioned. I don't
Worf.
know his exact
Michael
name.
Dorn.
Michael Dorn, yeah.
Correct.
Who's Alan Tudyk?
He is the Cylon.
Cylon? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what. Wow,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Is he the Cylon leader or the Cylon aide?
He might be the advisor.
Because the advisor is pretty entertaining.
Yeah,
Although
It might be the advisor.
He got
Although-
pretty stale.
I'm not sure.
He's pretty fun.
I'd have to
He's
look
like-
at
have
it
you
again.
have you played the Cylons?
No, I know what you mean, but
Yeah,
I haven't
and he's
played.
really-
yeah, maybe
He's
that's why I
very,
didn't know.
he's got a lot of joy in him.
Nice.
I've discovered
Eh,
another
Alan-
research.
Alan Tudyk's on
Just
a
freaks out.
on a Cartoon Network show too.
Oh man.
What's that?
Alan Tudyk's got a Adult Swim show that he's on.
Oh, that he
Really?
voices? For a second, I thought you said Alan Tudyk's
No,
son.
it's
son
actually
is on Adult Swim.
it's live action, like
And,
live acting.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Wow.
He's like a news anchor. It's
Really?
ridiculous.
Is that like
That's
the
great.
Tim and Eric Awesome show?
Check that out.
No, not that ridiculous.
Just weird.
Happy Fun Friends Forever,
cinematography.
whatever it was.
Like,
yeah,
that
it's
show
like
is weird.
it's like a ridiculous Dateline kind of thing,
Oh.
That's great.
and he's
I'm gonna have to look that up.
kind of the narrator and stuff.
I am up and down.
Have you guys
for that.
discovered the Adult Swim app ever?
Mm-mm.
It's actually
No.
pretty impressive to me. There's a lot of content for free. You just get it.
Really?
All of Rick and Morty,
Oh man,
every show they've ever done. I mean, it's just on there.
Wow.
yeah, I love that
Yeah,
they're
it's awesome.
so open
Did
about
not
that.
know that.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
I mean,
Especially because you can't get Rick and Morty without pirating anywhere else.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
and
right
not
in
everyone can stay up that late
Right.
these
Right.
days.
But it's
True.
right on their website too, though.
Yeah,
Right.
it's on their website as well.
yeah, but that player on that website is so shitty.
Yeah.
Well, I went
Never
from
used
Hulu to
that.
that.
I think they.
Yeah, they just have a
When I was
straight up
watching
app
Rick
that
and
I use
Morty.
on my iPad.
I think they released a Hulu like a season behind, so I think they're.
So maybe they'll release season 2 soon.
Possibly.
Well, we got season
When
3
season 3
coming in
starts?
Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wait,
Very
what?
excited.
Rick and Morty.
Phased out.
We went complete tangent from Alan Tudyk to Adult Swim.
Yes,
But yes, Alan Tudyk is a
Yes.
Cylon.
he is indeed.
Not with a C, but with a P.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to ask that
Yeah.
because I
Like-
haven't played
like-
this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
I know
psychic.
nothing.
Like
exactly.
psychokinetic. Kind of.
Yeah,
Big old
well,
heads. They look
I-
like the sectoids from XCOM.
Wow.
Yeah, they do.
Nice.
And I like
Yeah.
that they have the standard UFO model as their ship design,
Right,
which is
yeah, they're like-
kind of charming
That-
to me.
They're like
Wow.
the little green men, or like
Yeah. That
makes
grays or
me-
whatever.
The Greys.
That makes me want to gather their corpses and use it as a currency for science.
Yeah, scavenge or whatever.
Yeah.
Scrap. What's it
Or,
called?
what was that called?
Salvage.
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 There it is.
Alien
salvaging
salvage
bodies.
We are talking about the XCOM board game right
Yes.
there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So good.
Great game.
Well, yeah, I will weigh in on Master of Orion because I'm also enjoying that. Masters.
It's
Singular?
No, singular.
Singular.
Yeah, because I
There
don't
can
know
only-
if you've
there can
gotten
be
to
only
that
one?
point yet, but
Yeah, Orion's got.
they call it because Orion's a planet,
Yeah.
and it's like just this beautiful, perfect planet that you want to
Yeah.
settle.
Right.
But it has
And
this
it's guarded by a
guardian.
monster.
Yeah, it has a guardianship that is just devastating.
14,000 health or something.
It's a monster,
It's
right?
like
It's like a sea
52
creature?
It's no,
Or like
No,
sea
no, no.
creature. Wow.
I
What?
mean, they
Space
sea
monster?
creature.
It's
Yeah.
like a space
Space.
monster,
Yeah.
but it's
That's kinda-
tubular and
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
seems
That's
like
true.
a sea
That's true.
creature.
that's new though.
But in space.
Like in the originals, they didn't call them space monsters, so I don't really know why they're space monsters
Yeah.
in the reboot. But in the original, it was just like
Reavers.
a ship, but you didn't really
Oh.
know what was in it.
That's awesome.
But it was devastating. It looks even more devastating in this one though. 'cause
Yeah, it
the-
has a lot
the
of
fleet
power.
power is like 54,000.
Yeah, yeah.
I think in turn 150, I had a fleet power of like 12,000 or
Right.
something.
Yeah.
It's like
Same.
Yeah.
nowhere even close to it. But yeah, that's why it's called Master of Orion.
Yeah. Yeah, that planet looks gorgeous.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like perfect in
The main enemy.
so many ways.
Well, I'm really enjoying it as well. I think it's impressively finished for being early access.
Yeah,
And just
Um,
released as early access, right?
right.
Yeah.
I
Although
mean,
very
there's
recently.
bits and pieces. Like it plays like a finished game, but there's chunks of it that aren't there.
Right.
Right.
There's
Half
some.
the races aren't in
exactly, or victory conditions. I mean, you
Yeah.
can't even conquest victory at this point,
it. Right.
which is not always ideal.
And I definitely ran into texts that were like, "This isn't that." You know, they would give one thing and then like a building that it would say like, "This isn't in the game."
Oh, really? Wow,
Yeah.
I didn't experience
Enjoy
that.
this
yet.
tech.
Hey,
Yeah.
do you guys think there will be expanded designs and customization in the ships? Because I find that I think it's maybe like the Galactic Civ experience.
Oh,
That
yeah.
I had-
Right,
Fully
right.
customized ship.
I would
hope so.
love to have more
I mean,
customization.
Right
in
now,
ships.
they give you the option to like change the skin,
Yeah, it's like,
but
you,
that's
you have
about
two
it.
and
models.
There's model A and B
and then you
for a
have
lot
3
of things.
skins,
Right.
and then you can obviously
And then you change
customize
the
all your
weaponry
gear,
and stuff,
right?
yep.
I
Which is great.
imagine that expanding, and I imagine them probably opening it up to the workshop
Yeah.
too.
That was always one
Yeah.
of the best parts of the original. I would always make these really tiny ships so I could make a bazillion of them, and I just put a bunch of missile launchers on them, so they were pretty light. And then
Nice.
you just have these like, you'd have a group of 5,000 ships that would just launch a cluster of missiles at people and just devastate them.
Zerg swarm
Yeah.
technique.
That is
Right.
that's
But if they ever got
Ugh.
hit, you'd lose
Love
like
it.
1,000 ships at a time. But
Oh god.
it's like
But,
the bugs in
they were badass.
Ender's Game too.
Mm.
Whether it
Strength
was
in numbers.
whether it was Endless Space that kind of borrowed from it, or it from Endless Space, or like all of it from kind of Civ in a way.
Well, Galactic Civ is another huge
Yeah,
space
older game.
strategy that I think is the only thing that can stand toe to toe with Master of Orion.
Right.
Have you played that?
No, I haven't played Galactic Civ,
Oh,
but
man.
I mean,
I
I
bet
know
they
about
pull
it, and
off each other.
I've looked at like all the
Yeah.
details and features of it. But what I'm saying is, it's got similarities in that you have production, you have food, you
Oh,
have
right.
science, you have straight money, stuff like that. So it has similarities that way. But one way in which, in my experience, that I really like that it's improved from. Not improved from, but different than Endless Space is that when you have combat, you get to do like the RTS style combat.
right.
Even though
That wasn't in the original, right?
No, the original was turn-based, which I actually honestly prefer, but at the same time, I think that they did a pretty good job with it. It looks awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's just not, I'm not used to the tactical approach of it yet, so I don't really know if there's a whole lot of substance to it, but it seems like the potential's there for substance to strategy on the combat.
I also found that the map was not the easiest thing to navigate on the tactical screen. It took a little while to...
Yeah.
Because I wanted to zoom in. Like, the zooming in relation to your... It's just a little messy.
Yeah. I
And,
know what
and
you
they
mean.
may never fix it. It's just a matter of getting used to controls. So have you had extended battles in there?
Not very extended. Like
Yeah.
I've done like kind of like 4 ships on. Yeah, no, probably not as extended as you'd think.
Yeah, I haven't had too much. The only battle where tactics were even relevant,
Right.
So like I was defending one of my warp bases when I was being invaded,
Right.
and they had like 10 ships, and I had maybe 3, and they doubled my power. So I hid my 3 ships and just had them like move back and forth behind my starbase
Right.
until they were right up next to it, and then I just released them in 3 different directions,
Right.
and somehow won. And I was afterwards, I was like,
That's
this
pretty awesome.
could be sweet. And I felt like Ender in that moment, and I was like, oh god, against the odds. And I was like, yay!
Yeah.
And then another Civ just rammed me in the B side
Right.
the next turn, so I quit.
I mean, like even
But glorious moment.
even against the pirates where you're going up against like 2, maybe 3 ships max. I think 2.
Yeah.
Like, that I've experienced so far. There have been situations where I take I got a banged up fleet going into that battle,
Yeah.
so I do have to like
Gotta be
tactically protect one and then bring it in afterwards
Nice.
so that it can
Yeah.
not
And the
take the brunt of the damage.
And the cinematic view is pretty nice.
Yeah, that's pretty
really cool.
Yeah.
Some gathering, it's more complicated, obviously, than Endless Space, but less complicated than, say, like Total War battles.
I would say it's a mixture. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
like
definitely
it's-
not as complicated as Total War
Right.
battles.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
not as much
yeah.
you could do with it.
But
But
get the scattershot cannons.
similar
Yeah,
thought.
Endless Space has like the card system and the 3
Yeah.
phases, which that's why I didn't want to say that it was
Yeah, it's not
better.
that.
It's just different.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Endless Space in its own right is kind of cool because that, although Endless Legend kind of went into just tactical battles.
Yeah, turn-based
Um,
stuff.
And the reason why I compare them is, and specifically across like I did, is because like all of them are like production's orange, food is
Right.
green, science
Right.
is blue, your money is yellow. Like there's just all that similarities
Yeah.
across things. And I don't know who came up with that first, but
I would wonder that too. That is a good question.
It
When did Civ 1 come out?
yeah. See, that's
Because Master of Orion
1803
was really early.
It
Not
was
like
quite
mid
early.
to early 90s.
right.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
And Civ is probably around the same time.
Yeah. And I didn't want to be
What is the release
presumptuous
date?
about your.
The actual release date? Have they said
I don't
that?
think they have one.
I mean, it's early access.
The
That's
nebulous
I
early
mean,
access.
we could have a whole conversation about early access, but that might be for another time. But
Yeah. I think we have to some extent. At
have
least.
we?
Well,
Yeah.
the multiple times we've talked about 7 Days to Die.
All
I
right,
think
good
we've gone
point.
into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's just like here it is, semi-finished product. You know, it's paying to be part of the alpha or beta,
Right.
depending on the game and the publisher. And
It can go really well, and in my experience for the games that I've chosen to buy in early access,
Right.
it goes really well. But
I've seen but I've seen a few cases. Like there's one game that I've been looking at. I think it's called RATE or something, and like it looked extremely promising. It's kind of the Left 4 Dead vein, but like a medieval melee thing, kind of like Vermintide, Warhammer Vermintide, where it's like 4 players and
Yeah.
surviving
Yeah.
and trying to finish an objective. But like if you go down and look at if you look at like the forum and stuff, that's like, we haven't heard from. They haven't really released any news for like a year, and it's not even out in early access. But it was like slated to release into early access. So yeah, I don't know.
got tired of it.
Civ was 91 and Master of Orion was 93.
Ooh.
Wow.
Close.
God, that's so early.
Was the original Master of Orion similar in terms of like resource management and stuff like that?
Yeah, it does. I mean, the setup was the same, but the interface was a little different.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It didn't have like the little individual people, but it had slide bars instead.
Right. Gotcha.
So.
I like the little people.
I do too. I think they made it really simple and easy to manage, even
Yeah.
though you're you end up managing like 20 planets easy.
Yeah. For some reason, I feel like I have a lot more control than I do in Civ, and I know that's not true. but I just feel that way because the way the
just
UI is
the
set
presentation.
Right.
And one thing I liked and I saw and I thought was like, it's cute, but it's also like, thanks, this is cool
Yeah.
information, is when you're, what's the word? It starts with an M. Morale, yeah. I kept thinking
up. Oh
morality.
yeah,
When your morale
the
is down, you
striking
see
marker.
the dude sitting down with a little picket sign.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to work.
Yeah.
And that was just cool. And I'd be like, oh.
and then your brain locks up and you can't do anything else till that dude
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, dude,
How do
gets
I
his
get
ass
I
her?
really
up.
need you to get back
Like
to work.
I'm not gonna click
Yeah.
enter
How
until
much-
you get up. Where to
How much do you want me
We're
to scrub this
standoff.
pollution? It just keeps coming. All right. I have ships to build.
Well, maybe if you didn't auto everybody into research, we'd be fine.
Yeah.
Because that's what they
That's
do.
true.
So
It's the most worthless slot in my
What do you-
opinion.
yeah, I
because they're all
agree.
ones. It's like
Exactly.
I'd rather you create 4 food.
Yeah,
than
we're
one
gonna
research.
we're gonna max this
Yeah.
food out, and then we can research things.
so
One more thing about. I just want to add the GNN cinematics.
Oh, God.
Yes.
really enjoy them.
Even though
Really simple, but I really enjoy them.
they start to repeat, but I really like it
Yeah.
because, like, I love when there starts to be a battle or war breaks out.
Yeah.
And he speaks like really emphatically about the war, but you can tell because he's like robotic. It's like insert name here, so
Yeah.
it'll be like it's like in galactic war has started between the Cylons and
like a robot.
and
Yeah.
they're fighting for control of the galaxy.
Have you guys encountered the supernova thing?
No,
Have you ever
I'm-
okay, I
No.
got one random GNN in a game where the guy came out and he goes, the home what's the lizard people?
Sakura.
Yeah, the home
Clintons. I
star
covered
of
it.
the Sakura will supernova. It's like, they are trying to figure it out, and then it's over, and I was like, that sucks.
Yeah, that sounds
What
horrible.
do I do?
But you seem very ecstatic about
Yeah,
it.
but thanks for the info.
Yeah.
I mean, they were my neighbors, so I was a little worried they were going to invade me for space.
And
That sounds awful.
That's all they do is populate. They're a
Yeah.
bunch of
yeah,
reptilian bunnies.
bunch of poops.
who does Worf voice?
The Bullrathi. They're like a bear people.
yeah, and they've got
Oh,
like a
nice.
Russian accent. It's
it's
really
perfect.
funny, like how they connect specific animals and kind of accents and stuff, because like Russia and bears go together really well,
Yeah.
and things like that. So I really like just the kind of animalistic aspects of
I
the
agree.
different races.
And I got to say, I immediately stereotyped the Bullrathi as like those just a-hole aggressive people.
They kind of are in a way.
They can be, but I love that their whole premise is that they just are trying to protect nature
Yeah,
out in space. Like, so they're just looking out for what's
True,
best for the
right.
universe as a whole, which was a really cool. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever encountered
Yeah.
a fiercely
like fiercely, like
humans would have a problem with that.
I think they
because
do-
we'd pretend that we were doing that too,
right.
but we
Right.
don't.
yeah.
So like we would conflict with
They're-
them.
they're like-
I like that a lot.
They're like literally kind of a mother bear for
Yeah, very
for
druidic.
the nature
Right.
of the universe and
yeah,
stuff like that.
I liked it.
And
Nice.
one more thing on top of the GNN thing, like stats that make up like who's in the lead in terms of like fleet power and stuff. That like those are things that maybe I'll look at sometimes, but I really enjoy that GNN pops up and it's like, hey, here's a stat and here's who's leading
Yeah.
it.
Right. That's
like-
what they did in the original. And,
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that like the whole GNN thing gets used more than it is right now.
I agree.
Oh yeah,
Because
I
it
can see
used to
them
be
doing
just
that.
regular updates of progress and scoreboards. Like they'll either tell you who has the most fleet power, who has the most
Yeah.
industry, and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Well, and as a huge fan of Civ, I really like some of the things that I find to be unique to Master of Orion, because Civ should take many notes
Right.
from it.
Yeah.
Like, for example, the GNN giving you the stat list or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Civ does that too, but it's just, Pliny's work of, and then it's just a list, and it's really boring.
Yeah.
And although it's
Right.
interesting, like, come on, Sid.
Could add some
Put some,
flavor
put some
to it.
effort
Come on.
into
Yeah,
your game.
Don't just
it's like, you don't...
Photoshop your stupid rivers.
In today's
That's right.
game, well, exactly. In today's gaming age, they don't have the hegemony that they may have had during Civ 4 or Civ 3. They need
Yeah.
to kind of step it up to match some of these games.
Right.
I mean, I think Master of Orion is really showing how you can add really interesting visuals
Yeah.
to a relatively simplistic strategy game,
and fantastic voiceovers.
and and everything.
It's
and add a
really
lot of
about
depth.
presentation. Like
Yeah.
it does presentation really well.
Yeah,
and
they're not skimping on any strategy in the game. It's not
No.
easy at all.
No, no.
you got to really
Like,
and I
yeah,
love it.
They
Yeah.
they've got the good like mechanic wise, and then they also present it in a really appealing, really interesting and entertaining way.
Agree.
And
it's space.
Who's
gonna love that.
And
Spaceships.
I totally agree. Like Sid could do better than just give you an Excel spreadsheet of what's going on.
Right,
you know?
right.
They did give you Leonard Nimoy for a time.
That is true.
That's true.
Yeah, those voiceovers were nice.
Yeah, but that's not quite as
That was Civ 4.
numerous and powerful. That's what I
Yeah.
for a time.
Yeah.
Then it went away, and it'll never
They
come
still
back.
have voiceover, and it's a good voice actor, but
Right.
I mean, there's very little visual, and yeah. I just like the game. I just want him to do it.
Yeah.
Just the best.
Do it justice.
Just be the best. That's all I
yeah.
want.
Yeah.
Well,
I
good.
agree.
That's exciting. I'm sure I will buy it at some point and play it.
Yeah, I
It
still
has
haven't even
not.
tried the co-op. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, I think
Right.
once all the races open up and you can do huge galaxies, I think the multiplayer is going to be amazing.
I look forward to
Right.
Well,
yeah.
I salute you, intrepid explorers, for discovering everything about this game, so that I can wait and do it when it's right
Indeed.
Nice.
in my rotation.
You're very welcome.
Yeah. Speaking
Rotation.
of, you guys are playing the Division.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
New
Yep.
game, AAA, right?
Totally new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom Clancy.
Tom Clancy's the
T.
Division.
Clance. He writes books and makes games.
Where does this compare to the timeline of, like, say, The Hunt for Red October?
It's like
I'm not very familiar with. The
I was not expecting that question.
I would say. Well,
We'd like this in days.
like
Yes.
I don't know where the
Clear and present
I
danger.
don't
please.
know where the film reboot comes in, because there's like a Uplay reward you can get that is Agent Ryan's
Nice.
Agent Ryan's
Jack.
like jacket.
Oh,
Uh,
Jack Ryan's jacket.
yeah, it says Agent Ryan's jacket, and I'm like, is that from? Because I didn't watch that one like trailer, like Division stories.
Oh yeah, I didn't watch that either. They did like a short.
Yeah, they had a
movie
series.
release thing or something.
Was it a web series or something on the
something
Division?
like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe Agent Ryan is in that, but I don't know if it's
Yeah,
Jack
I
Ryan
don't-
or not.
I assume it's in the same, like, theoretical, historical, fictional world space
It's like in terms
version of Earth.
terms of sorry.
Are all his novels supposed to be in like a separate but similar world space?
I think they are supposed to be similar. I mean, it's all
it's like
some
Clear and Present
fictional-
Danger. Yeah, well, I guess that
There's
All the
makes-
Jack Ryan stuff is all about the character Jack Ryan.
Right,
although
right.
his age tends to just jump around in movies and stuff. I haven't read enough
Patriot High Miss,
books.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I read like Clear and Present Danger and whatever one.
Patriot Games.
There's
Hunt for Red
relatively-
October.
And Hunt for Red October.
There's like relatively consistent people that like he works with, because I know there's like a Navy SEAL,
Rainbow Six.
Navy SEAL sniper that
book
was
is so
in
good.
like Rainbow like in Rainbow Six, that was also in one of
Yeah,
the
I
Jack
did
Ryan
read that.
movies or something like that.
Favorite Jack
or
Ryan
Jack Ryan
actor?
films. Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin. Wow.
Yeah, I mean
Ben
Harrison
Affleck.
Ford did it well.
Didn't like the hairstyle. Ben Affleck.
What one is
or-
Alec Baldwin?
Hunt for
He
Red
was
October.
October.
right.
He actually was the first person to play the character, if I remember correctly. So
Was he?
he predated Hunt for Red October came out
Gosh, that
before
is mind-boggling.
all of the Harrison Ford ones.
broke my mind.
Yeah,
So-
there's one Harrison Ford one.
And then Ben Affleck was in one of the movies with
Morgan
Freeman.
Yeah.
Freeman.
What is that?
Oh, yeah.
Too much
Clear and
stuff.
Present Danger?
Baltimore
What is
Ravens
it?
Stadium gets nuked or something.
Wasn't
like that. It's ridiculous. And then there was a reboot with Chris Pine.
Christopher Pine.
Chris
Right.
Rock.
Tucker.
Chris Tucker.
The guy,
New Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan. Oh God, lots of yelling.
yeah,
Sorry,
just like,
anybody listening.
you're not a professional agent here, buddy.
The cat.
But I actually really like
Pine.
so the kind of time
Yes, onto the game.
the kind of time that the division takes place in is kind of a near future type of thing. There's like analytic capabilities, so they can create. So you can go around and there's something called like an echo, which I imagine from what I've seen, like it seems to take surveillance data and put together a picture for you that you can view, and it has like little dots everywhere, but they like things that are loud or things that create a noise. Like it's
Right.
kind of. It can kind of pick up, I think, like
It's like
all
a
the-
holographic representation,
Right,
of the
built-
of the past,
yeah, built
but
from
built from surveillance.
surveillance and
Right.
stuff.
Nice.
So like
That's
things that made
crazy.
things that made more noise
Yeah.
have more little orange dots because like they were more data can
the past?
represent that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that's
you can like
crazy.
walk
That's
around
I
and
love
look
that idea.
and
Yeah.
look at certain people and like get
Yeah.
information on them and stuff.
That's awesome.
Did this all appear in books?
I don't
first?
I have no idea.
That's a
I don't know the
really
history
cool
of it.
idea.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting. Like when I realized what it was doing, I was like, that's kind of awesome because you hear everything as if it's through like definitely an electronic medium, like through a phone or through a camera or something like that, and you kind of hear an audio playback from depending on where you're standing and stuff like that.
I wish I had that idea first.
And yeah,
I really like that idea.
I know.
Recreating past impressions from
Yeah.
the electronics we use every day.
Yeah.
I love that. That's
I
great.
mean, it kind of reeks of like
Big Brother.
surveillance.
Oh yeah.
But
Right.
It's the world we live in.
Yeah.
But it's like people's cell phones, so it like puts all that data together,
Yeah.
like everything that was
Siri,
there.
just gathering until the event will take over.
Siri,
Yeah.
and
And-
phones are constantly listening. I mean, or at
Always.
least have the ability to.
When Siri comes alive, we're going down.
I will say that I watched a 30 to 90 second clip about this game, so I feel like I'm on par with you guys. I can
Yeah,
go up here.
and the concept is actually really interesting. I mean, division agents are just like they're normal people that have, I assume, been secretly trained, and they live just among people. Like they have normal jobs. Like you go around, you pick up like intel on other agents, and they're like lawyer or like high stakes poker player or like things like that. And
That would be my undercover action.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's
I
a
mean,
good one.
I'm just going to play poker with the
So I
government's
play
money.
poker when I'm not fighting villains.
they're placed there and they live their lives, and I assume they probably keep some kind of physical exercise regimen because I mean they
Whole lot of banging.
You're creating a robust world here, and I like it.
really and
So you're
There's a lot of just what they're doing in the
sorry,
lives.
am I going on too much?
No,
No,
because
not at
I
all.
think that
I just
actually
enjoy
is-
the detail.
It's part of the storyline of the world.
Yeah, it's really. I actually find it really
From what I've
interesting, and I find playing a character in that world pretty interesting. Even though there's not really much dialogue from your end. I mean, it's got RPG elements, but it isn't necessarily an RPG in dialogue.
Right.
I am more confused based on what you just said than when I was coming into this conversation. Just because, like, all that detail was way beyond what I knew. So this is not an apocalypse.
It's
in New York.
It's a catastrophe in New York.
Yeah.
So, but they're like
That could spread.
normal people living.
Yeah, so they're normal people living their lives.
I thought it was just straight wasteland. Like that. I didn't know that. That's
No,
crazy.
they lock down New York. What happens is someone puts a like really nasty strain of the flu. I think it's the flu
yeah,
onto money that they print, and then they distributed it
Oh, that's
on
smart.
Black Friday.
Yeah.
And so like it just spreads
like that.
rapidly. It's something that they can't find a cure for
Yeah.
yet, and so they lock down
So
New
they just
York.
quarantine the whole city.
Yeah.
and you
They-
play in basically the southern half of Manhattan, and there's one zone that's called the dark zone, which is like they kind of were just like it's lost, but people then like the worst off, like, and so like all this happens, and you get people from Rikers Island, which is basically a prison, and then there's just rioters themselves who are kind of unskilled, but a lot of them and angry. And then also these crazy people that started because they were like, we just need to purge all this, so they have like flamethrowers and
Purge.
Wow.
and
Called
like
cleaners.
gas masks called cleaners,
Back
and
to
their
Rick and Morty.
their goal is to like
Purge 'em,
basically,
Morty.
yeah, it's they just want to totally purge them,
They're fun because you just shoot their
So-
backpack and then
and they freak out and
explode.
explode.
So the division then, I would
Yeah, I
it would
wanna
be
kinda
safe to
finish
say
my-
that they're like a secret society that lives in
Yeah,
society,
Right.
And I
normal
don't really-
lives,
I don't
but they're
really-
ready to activate if something like
Yeah.
shit hits.
yeah.
They
I don't
have-
think they don't really like know each other. I don't think, but
I don't think so. But they-
basically they live lives, and they're only
they're
there.
like a splinter cell.
Like specifically, the quote is for their purpose is the continuance of government in case of just a complete and utter disaster. And so what they do is like they live their lives, but if they get activated,
Yeah.
they basically drop everything and disappear from their lives, but they go and
Solve problems.
solve problems, and they're like basically kind of autonomous.
Yep.
They're because once government
Big
breaks
sinks.
because like once government breaks down, there's no government to direct them on what they should
Right.
do. So they are basically like their goal is keep
they answer to
stability.
nobody.
Yeah, they answer to nobody because
Danger
and they
zone.
need
One-
to-
Wow.
yeah.
once you have basically a catastrophe kind of situation, nobody's in charge, so they are the preemptive
Go
try to
assert
keep
authority.
order
Yeah.
if this ever happens. So this happens and people get activated, and you are one of the people that's activated. So the game starts on you kind of already in New York, having been activated, and you're kind of just walking the streets, and you have like weaponry and some gear, and then as you go through the game, you pick up better gear and stuff like that. But
Right.
I don't know, that concept really, like, Dane, you really seem into it. It really was interesting to me.
Yeah, I said I was sincere in that the amount of detail you created this whole world I didn't know existed in this game.
Yeah.
That's what I meant by that. Was like I did not know. I thought it was just you're a shoot 'em up. Welcome to the apocalypse. It's New York. Like
Right.
that's it.
Right,
I didn't know
yeah.
any of this, so that's what I meant by that.
The
Like, that
storyline's
was
really good.
interesting.
The missions.
Old Tom knows what he's doing.
The missions are pretty extensive.
Do you think he
and-
contributes?
And the story of the missions are compelling.
Yeah.
You feel like you're actually trying to make a difference.
Gosh, I
Yeah.
hope he's a writer on it. That'd be super cool.
Yeah.
Probably
That
does more than
sound like
Sid.
it's.
Who even is Sid? Come on.
I don't know who Sid
It's not
Meier's.
like pointless quests from like a lot of RPGs or MMOs. You just have like stupid gather this
Yeah.
quests. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and all the quests in this game have a purpose towards trying to wrest order back from
Right.
all the thugs
Nice.
that are
That's
in the
kinda
like
cool.
in the city.
Even the side missions are kind of like, there's a group, they're the Joint Task Force, the JTF. They're basically like all the firemen, police, and everything joined together into a relatively, policing kind of
Manhattan
but they don't
militia.
have the ability and
M
skills
squared.
that like your
Right.
character has or knowledge, I guess. And so you'll run into situations where they're in a firefight with a group, and like you get some bonus stuff if you go and help them, do this, like not get killed, because you see their dead bodies all over the streets. Like it's kind of like it's not kid gloves. Like it's pretty bad. Like they're all getting killed. Like they're fighting a losing battle against these people just going crazy in New York.
And you're actually the second wave of division that went in.
Right.
The first one, they're all MIA or dead. So
Wow.
Yeah.
it's that bad.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Actually.
That's pretty extreme.
And you're basically kind of it's sometime in December, so you're like a few weeks out from when everything happens. So shit has really hit the fan.
Right.
And it's getting cold.
And it's cold. Yeah, it's cold, and
I'm just imagining that you get sweet gear that's like a parka.
Fluffy parka.
Yeah, there's a
be
lot of
awesome.
like cosmetic gear that
Yeah.
you pick
Yeah.
up, and parkas, scarves, stuff like that.
Staying warm.
There's a lot of
It's the ambiance that I
cool
like.
items. I didn't expect them to have that many.
Yeah,
Staying
you-
warm, going to Macy's.
you can really
She's
customize
nice.
yourself.
Yeah.
Like it's like different kind of like there's multiple kinds of just like modern bomber jacket, like
Right.
things like that. And
So what's its MMO flavor? Like, do you see people
I
running
don't
around?
like it being labeled an MMO. I mean,
Okay.
there's kind of
Yeah.
hub areas where you can see people.
But is it
running around.
flashed in the sense of you're not seeing people run around all the time?
You're not unless you're in one of the hubs that Dan was referencing, or the
Dark
Dark
Zone.
Zone. The Dark Zone's like a PvP zone.
Right.
Kind of like Path of Exile. Like the towns would
yeah.
be kind of like that.
Yeah.
But your main base of
Can
operations.
you? But if you're in a party, let's say, then you go to the same space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just it's really
What's the party
It
limit?
actually 4, of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
But you can also like queue up for doing missions as a group instead of doing them solo. Like,
Nice.
you can party up when you want.
Are
to.
there dungeons or? Such?
Yeah, the missions are kind of like dungeons.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's elite characters, boss characters.
Yeah. Like
nice.
Awesome.
areas where like kind of a big fight might be coming up because they'll have like ammo restock and
Right.
stuff like that. Just kind of.
Any crafting elements?
Yes.
Yeah,
Ooh,
very
you're
basic.
hitting all the check marks here.
Very basic crafting though.
Yeah, it's relatively basic compared to
Any
like
romances
a
with
lit-
alien species
classical-
that wear body armor?
MMO. And one more thing I
Try
wanted
to
to
seal the deal here.
say about it that's pretty cool.
Is Tally in it?
Jarv's further than I am, but like right now you have like a base of operations. It's set up in some relatively large building.
Post office.
Yeah,
I
it's like
think.
set up in a post office, and part of your goal as well as what levels you up is you get supplies for doing missions like side missions or like you have 3 flavors of kind of purpose. You have medical, technological, and which is kind of also like utilities of the city, and then you also have security.
Ooh, I like that.
And your skills are also medical, technological, and security. And so you're kind of repairing your base of you're setting up a base of operations to like deal with sick people and deal with security for the city or as much as possible, and also the getting utilities back online. But as you do that, you also get upgrades to your abilities, you get perks, you get talents. So that's kind of where the RPG element is. And I really like how, I mean, it's not as extensive as a classic MMO like World of Warcraft, where you've got tons of classes and they each have their own talent trees and stuff like that. It's not quite like to that extent, but I like that they've tied, like, it makes sense to the story to build this place up, and they've also tied it into your what is your leveling up, and it kind of makes sense because
your skill set.
You're gathering supplies and to improve, and as you improve the place, like civilians have been rescued and are going into the medical place and lining up for that, and you have like security people, like your security force, and they're just NPCs that most you don't even talk to, that just walk around, but it's pretty cool because you can see it. You see as it builds up. And,
tangible, real progress.
yeah,
Correct.
Towards the goal.
Speaking of lines at the medical place, I saw a cool article over the weekend about in the launch. Apparently, there's a bug on some laptop that every person needs to activate or something, and it wouldn't work if multiple people tried to get it. So in-game, players formed a line and took turns.
Yes.
And communicated to each other. We're gonna get
Whenever that happens in a game, it's just like, this is a profound moment.
It's a profound moment.
You know what I think
like
it is?
in the blurb, in the actual shot that they showed, some guy was allegedly like running past the line, and like a ton of people were just calling out, "Dude, there's a line."
Dude,
it's
get in
like
line.
being at the DMV. Like it's really weird.
It's
in
amazing
line.
that you say that. I didn't
Or
even
exiting the highway.
I didn't even
right.
social
Right.
contract here.
I didn't even see that article, but I did that. I formed a line because a guy was at the laptop. So when you're starting out and you kind of go
It
into
could have
that,
been about you, man. I don't know.
I wasn't in like a big line, but yeah, probably wasn't.
It was a modestly sized line.
Yeah. So when you start out and the first safe house type place you go to before you even get to the tutorial phase,
Yeah, I know what you're talking
before you
about.
get to your base of operations,
I think
you have
that was
to
it. Yeah.
you have to activate a laptop.
Okay.
And there were a lot of people kind of milling around it, and so I didn't really go to access it, but when I came back there was some guy there, and I saw somebody else kind of like coming over, and I just like stood behind the guy that was there, lining up.
Yeah.
And then the other guy stood behind me, and some other dude stood behind him.
Yeah.
And I was like,
It's a completely
That makes me think
orderly game.
adults
I
are
just-
playing the Division.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And-
Like
and-
not
Well,
children.
but on the other side of that spectrum,
Dark Zone.
Dark Zone, sure, but that's their right to harass you in the Dark
Right.
Zone. That's what the Dark Zone is.
Yeah.
But there's no clipping in the game, so like you can manipulate you can block entrances, and so
Oh.
you'll have people that will just sit there and do jumping jacks in the doorway, so you can't get through. And it's
Why
just
would
like-
that happen?
I think they changed it so that you can kind of slowly move them out of the
Push
way.
them out.
little nudge.
But I know
Yeah.
it was a huge issue in the
Can you
beta.
shoot 'em in the
like
face?
people would just sit in the doorway and not let you access the safe room because
Wow.
Oh, that's
dicks.
bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate that. Get off the damn
come on.
highway. You can't pass on the shoulder.
Anecdote.
But I
that
agree that
sounds
the random people that I've come across have been pleasant to deal with. For
Yeah,
the most
that's
part.
good.
The ones that didn't have their dicks up my ass.
That always surprises. That always surprises me. It's funny because it kind of.
Did not see that.
I don't know the age of I don't know the age of the players necessarily, but I noticed that with the younger generation, there seems to be a just I could be wrong, but like a schism. There are the there are the horrible element, who will just grief you and those are pieces of shit. But I think there's also generally
Call of Duty players.
yeah,
Exactly.
I think there's also generally a large amount that because they're younger kids that have grown up in virtual space a lot more than maybe we have.
Really?
Well, okay, a lot more than Fuck, I don't know. More detailed virtual space. Let me say that because we play.
They bring societal
had,
norms into games.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think so they do bring in this is a mirror of real life. So you stand in line in real life, stand in line here. It makes sense, and maybe they don't even think about it. But we're just amazed because we've dealt with dipshits like Counter-Strike. It's just like, stop flashbanging the team, for the love of God. I'm home from school. I just want some peace, and I want to play.
You don't want to get flashbangs.
Play Counter-Strike, and you're
And
just
spawn.
flashbanging the team. Yeah.
So the combat in that game, I don't know much about it. It looks like it's a lot of cover-based.
Yeah.
You use your skills and everything.
Yep.
So is it like there's a tech-based skill and then there's like just a straight-up guns type skill?
You get to choose. You can
medic
equip
stuff?
2 skills at any time. Once you hit a certain level, you can have 2 at a time. And like Dan said, you unlock the different options by improving your medical wing and your tech wing and your security wing.
Right.
And then you can just swap those at any time you want. So you can kind of just gear to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Nice.
Or to who you're playing with.
Yeah, so you can complete missions based on what you want to go towards. Or,
So there's no
Wow.
class system whatsoever. It's
Yeah.
you're all just a
All highway?
agent. Yeah.
But
highway.
there is classes of like primary type weapons, which is nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can kind of
It was a
determine
little
your role in
confusing
that
at
way.
first to figure that out, but there are like your gear affects different skills.
Yeah. So
and you don't really notice it at first. It doesn't come out and
low
say it.
level it doesn't affect you much, but like
Right.
I recently I use marksman weapons because I just love getting headshots with a scope, and marksman weapons do extra damage for headshots and
Boom, headshot.
but yes, wow, that's an old
Counter-Strike.
Mm-hmm.
And I had kind of just passively focused on using gear that improved my firepower skill, but I got like one item that improved either like my skill abilities or health or whatever, and it took from my firepower, and it took quite a bit. And now I'm getting headshot, like I'm not getting one-shot headshots anymore.
Right.
So I mean, that stuff determines things. But the cool thing is, in the tech wing, you can get an upgrade where you can recalibrate gear, so you can actually shift what their bonuses are.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
Really?
and they're actually there's
A little bit of crafting style stuff there.
yeah, and it's funny because weapons, like when you craft, you get a lot of actually random stat upgrades
Right.
that I really didn't notice at first. Like there were like 3 more stats I hadn't even noticed I was dealing with besides the firepower, health, and
Right.
and skill ability.
Yeah, you have to look closely. It took me a while to realize that the equipment had such a huge effect.
Oh, yeah.
on what you were doing.
Yeah, so you kind of gear towards what you want to do, even just as high level as the kind of weapon you're using. You know,
Nice.
it's got depth to it that I was pleasantly surprised to see, and I think the gameplay itself is. I love the cover and the fact that you can look at other covers and like hold down the space bar and you do like a crouch run to that cover, and you have skills that
Right.
like can buff you based on how far of a run that is and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's very smooth. It plays very smoothly. The combat. I don't know if you played Gears of War or anything.
Yeah.
Oh
It's
yeah,
very,
Gears of your mom.
very similar.
Big time.
Very similar to Gears of War in that respect.
Yeah.
And it
Nice.
works. It works really well. I didn't think that it would work in the sense that, I mean, enemies, while you might be able to one-shot some of them with a sniper rifle in certain situations,
Right.
they have a lot of health because
Yeah.
I know you don't want to call it an MMO, but it kind of is an MMO.
Right, yeah.
And so they operate, like the enemies operate like an MMO enemy, and you don't one-shot things in MMORPGs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I guess I'm just slow to move on from slapping an MMO on
Right.
from classic MMO RPGs.
Sure,
you know,
sure.
So,
Yeah, it's certainly very different from most MMOs.
Right.
But like, yeah, I thought it would be a little weird because you're going up against a boss and you're putting like between 4 people, you're putting 30 clips into this guy, but at the same time, it feels right.
Yeah.
And they're all
Yeah.
crazy motherfuckers.
and sometimes, and sometimes it makes sense. Like there's that early on boss that's like one of the cleaner bosses, and he's got like tons of body armor on him,
Yeah,
but also
it's
exposed exposed gas tanks
Yeah.
that you blow up like crazy. It's like, I
Yeah.
mean, what's your
Interesting.
priority here?
Right.
Interesting life choice.
Yeah.
Wow, I don't know if I would survive in that game very long. I'm pretty sure I would not use cover.
That's
all.
that's a death
You're
sentence.
the
Oh, yeah.
run up full frontal shotgun.
Shotties right at him,
And-
dead.
It's
And
Little
nasty.
Vanguard style.
The,
You
sec-
and Tally.
the security tree is
I'll finish
largely based on cover. Like the first skill you can get is like mobile cover, which is you basically have a shield and you can use your secondary, so your sidearm, and there's also like sawed-off shotguns as secondary. And so you're kind of mobile, so maybe you can, like, if you're going in, your group can stay behind you as you guys move, and then you split into cover. Or you have an ability where you can improve the cover of you and those around you, and it's kind of interesting. You like just slap something techie onto your cover, and it improves it.
Yeah.
There's a little
Nice.
bit of a stretch in the tech and how exactly
Hey.
it's working.
Right.
I don't
I'm
know.
just
I
gonna
was
slap
okay.
this on pavement and we're good.
But at least it's not like, hey, magic,
Yeah, sure.
Magic explains, but it's tech explains.
Isn't it
look at
magic?
Sci-fi. I mean, I ran around in the Old Republic with the sniper agent guy, and I'd throw down something, and it would make a shield in front of me.
Right,
I didn't
right.
question it.
Right, exactly.
I loved it.
Everyone wants it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want that?
Healing bullets.
I was fine with
Well,
it.
yeah, healing
Actually, shooting my
bullets.
healing bullets,
So-
everybody.
I'm just going to shoot Kolto at you.
Kolto darts.
Well,
Like crazy.
My mind did actually turn towards Tor in something you said earlier.
Mhm.
Is there any melee at all?
Just
Bashing,
can.
like bashing your gun or
Yeah,
can you
yeah,
use
yeah.
weapons.
Yeah, it's not like it's not like something you would run up in melee as
Nobody could be
that's what you're
viable.
doing. Yeah,
Right.
It's kind of you're out of a clip and close to the guy, or someone comes over.
or
Yeah.
he's
Last
running
resort.
at you with an axe, and it's
Yeah.
kind of that is kind
Can
of
you
freaky.
take the
I don't
axe?
know why
it's
that-
very
I want
freaky.
the X.
when they have the shield and the axe, I'm like, this is a legitimate threat. Like,
Yeah.
and it's
They do a lot of damage too.
yeah, and the
Yeah.
detail in the game is like.
See, that's who
really
I
great,
want to be
so-
to them.
Right.
Give me a
They're
bunch
like,
of
this is
armor
a
and an
legitimate
axe and
threat
shield.
right now. He's not
Right.
using the cover.
Yeah,
Everyone agreed on the cover and the mechanics.
You can
Unfortunately,
use a shotgun. Shotguns are kind of
yeah, it's kind of melee. Yeah.
Get close.
Oh, it
and
sounds
Blow
interesting.
their face off.
Oh, so on boss battles, is it like everybody has equal responsibility for survivability, or does somebody take? Are there roles like tanky roles?
You can be a healer, or the tank.
Yeah,
You can
I
sort
mean,
of tank
Somewhat
in
but,
the way of taking security,
but not dedicated roles, and
Okay.
it's not like you're dealing with boss mechanics that you would see in most MMOs.
Right.
You're dealing with like he's a sniper, and snipers in this game, if you give them the opportunity to shoot you, they do massive damage.
Right.
And sniper bosses can
It's kind of about being
almost
smart.
always one hit you. So it's kind of you use a lot of strategy and you try to flank them. You
Yeah.
keep them occupied
Right.
with some of your players, and you flank around. So there's a lot of
Communication is
strategy
key.
in it, but it's not like avoid this lava spray. Although I guess
Right.
I mean the
Do the Hagen dance.
flamethrower dude
The
kind of
flamethrowers
does it. you know.
And grenades give you the kind of when a grenade lands, and
That
grenades
sucks.
can be there's like 5 different kinds of grenades. So sometimes you don't know unless you know
Yeah.
what this kind of character the enemy does. But grenades will land behind you or like near you when you're in cover, and you get like a red like kind of pulsing circle of its area of effect, and you have like a certain amount of time to like double spacebar, dodge out of the way.
Dip dive.
Right.
But that also might take you out of cover, so you're vulnerable to a sniper. So I mean, it doesn't have
4Ds.
you don't have
Dip
the
it.
strategic element.
Dipping dots.
Dip dive.
Dodge, dip, dive, duck,
Dippin'
dodge.
Dippin' Dots. Oh,
Delicious.
I want those. $10 at Cedar Point.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
$400 on your child. Dipping dots.
So
You get a small bowl that'll melt before you even
Space
start.
ice cream.
Space.
So-
They use it in space.
Please.
anyway, end of the sentence is
It's a good game.
yeah, we've gone
Well,
on for a
actually, if I can dwell on this,
real quick before I
I
go.
do have a couple
right.
more
You're in the middle of a
questions.
sentence. I have,
Yes.
I'm not done with this boss strategy thing.
Yeah, but yeah, it's about the boss strategy.
cool.
So, yeah, it's not quite like a classic MMO, but I like it just in that it kind of makes more sense for the type of battle that you're
Definitely.
having is where, like you said, you strategically flank them. Like that makes sense in a firefight,
Right.
you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so my question,
was
so
a
and when you have differentiated roles in MMO boss battles, right? It's
Yeah.
not necessarily about. I mean, sometimes it's strategy, but it's more so you feel empowered because you have this job and you must do this job, and everyone depends on you to do this job,
Or they
right?
get pissed
Right.
that you failed.
Right.
Or everyone failed.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So
Or just deal with the fact that Dane is lagging out in the corner. And his hair
right,
is crazy.
that was such a dark small period.
Oh, we don't have a healer right
I remember
now.
the glory days
Just
of,
deal
of
with it.
healing.
Do we have off heals?
Somehow you guys usually survived. Let's be honest.
It was a joyous period.
Which was definitely
We enjoyed
an awakening in myself.
the
Like,
added
am I
challenge.
not needed? No.
What is my purpose?
But anyway, you feel really valuable when that happens, right?
Right, yeah.
So do you think that fighting bosses is going to get uninteresting at some point if it's just shoot him until he's dead?
That is a great concern of mine.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
can
feel
see
like
that.
the end game in this could be extremely boring.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna enjoy. I guess I won't say I regret the purchase if that's the case, because I mean get a lot of
journey is-
gameplay out of it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I might regret getting the season pass, but
That just gives you the extra DLC as it comes out, right?
right.
So there's
But
no
we'll see.
subscription
No, there's no subscription.
like other MMOs sometimes have.
no,
Yeah,
no.
I mean, you can.
Well, there you go.
I
You
think
don't
as
really
time
have to regret much then.
as
Just
time
another
goes
game
on,
to play
like
through.
the store certainly there's really nothing in it besides clothing, like 2 clothing packs. So like I don't think there's really any pay to win kind of stuff either.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, I didn't even
Yeah.
know they had a microtransaction store.
yeah, like that's that, and all it has in it is like the cop uniforms and different military uniforms that you could buy a pack of.
The ones we got for spending too much money on the gold edition.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, somebody said there were records broken when it came out.
I guess. I don't-
Yeah, there was a blurb I saw today about.
Yeah.
It's. I think it was. Dan, I think you
Corroborate.
corroborate this. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
sales of opening weekend or day.
like the opening day had, I think, record breaking, or when the article came out, it was looking like it was gonna be. I didn't follow up on it.
I saw one today that talked about it. I mean, I didn't read much of the article, but the tag was something like Division's opening weekend sees record sales, or something.
Right. Yeah,
pretty
and I totally
vague.
believe it based on, because the article I saw was out like during the first day.
Yeah.
So they were just getting and I don't know if that counts pre-orders, and they're just like it's pre-ordered and then technically purchased, like they recorded it as a purchase on the
Right.
day it released. But I would think it would say pre-orders.
Yeah.
Hit a record or something.
They'll do whatever for.
I thought the Diablo
Yeah.
franchise had all those records.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've been just kind of interested, not knowing much about it. It came out of nowhere a couple weeks ago in my world, so I'm just impressed that. I mean, everything you guys have been saying, other than that boss thing that concerns me, but sounds really intriguing.
Yeah.
Like it sounds really good.
The skill for the boss thing, yeah, that is concerning. Like whether it's just going to be overwhelming force of your side, or like they just kill you until you level up enough or something. That does concern me, and I don't know whether like the later balancing, there might be balancing issues they need to work out. The skills are built to seem to handle that, so you have all kinds of like stats improvements you can do and like modifications you can make to your skills. Like each skill has like 3 modifications you can do, and then you can also master it.
Yeah.
So, you do have the security person does improve your cover, which is kind of tanky. It's kind of like it's more of a buffing defense, or they can throw down their own cover or create their mobile cover with like a shield. The healing person can like throw down a medical. They can either heal people from afar, heal people themselves and people around them, like a kind of a quick heal. They can throw down like a medical station that other people can maybe rush to, that can be modded to take away negative effects, things like that.
Get a flu shot.
Because there are negative effects, like you can get disoriented by gas grenades. You can get set on fire.
Get flashbanged at spawn,
You can get flashbang.
as we have covered.
So it seems like the skills are going in that direction of being useful.
More specialized.
Yeah,
in a
maybe
long-term
maybe
fight.
in some of the later game, it grows your
More
role.
relevant.
Yeah, your role will grow, and it becomes more of like, are you skilled to be able to do this or that?
Which is similar with
Which,
MMOs.
I mean,
because
like
That's true.
Ragefire Chasm, it didn't
Tor.
matter what the hell you were.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
even Tor,
Don't
you get to
say that.
even
I mattered.
It was really important that someone tanked that.
wailing caverns. Everyone.
I
we
have
didn't
one
just run
taunt
right
and
through
I
that.
can do this.
Well, even Tor in mid game, it was it was there, but you could get through.
Oh, yeah.
Like you could survive it
Right.
with a rando companion sometimes.
So maybe,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
So maybe
Like-
that's the balancing they're going for. And that's
I hope
maybe.
so, just because what is the longevity? I mean, to you seem to really like it. What do you think is the narrative so compelling that you're going to play this game? I mean, like Tor had that, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
Yeah,
what
but
is
that
it?
comes to an end.
It does,
Right.
You can't have a continual end game narrative.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Endless
there's always
story.
got to be that thing you're vying for. So, like early WoW days for us, it was level up, but as you're doing so, really interesting. The
Yeah.
content is interesting. We like
team
the
mechanics.
world, working with the team. You get to endgame, then it's like get gear,
Yeah.
so that I can do the hard stuff. So then you're doing like pretty hard stuff, getting gear, and
It's
then
kind
you-
of-
like goal after goal after goal. And by the time you get to the end goal, burning crusades out, and you're like, oh shit,
Oh, I got more
you
goals
gotta do this
again.
all over again.
And now all the gear,
And I love it.
The gear that I was getting, yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a good point.
I wonder what it
There's
does.
that
It have
interesting,
that.
and that's also a whole topic we can talk about. Kind of
Right.
the terminus of the loot-based systems. Like, it's really like sometimes I will sit there and think about it, like because I've gotten into like the Diablo 3 Rift running,
Yeah.
like just by myself sometimes, and I'll just sit there and it's like
I'm doing the same.
1 a.m, and I'm like, what am I doing? Like it's like what's the purpose here? Like I'm going to get gear to keep doing what I'm doing,
Yeah.
but there is a satisfaction in that action. There's something
Sure, but it's
satisfying.
fun and exciting.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly, and then of course, as
Most
you say,
games are like
expansions.
that, though.
Right.
And I think that's what the season pass is it's going to
Yeah.
throw more story on it.
To
I mean,
their
they could
credit, they've already lined up a bunch of the releases, and
Right.
they've talked about it. It's not like it's going to be one of those games where they don't continue to work on it.
Right.
and they have the whole other half of Manhattan they could open up, and also they
In the whole United States.
And then, like, the next event is it spreads.
I know I've talked
Outside
about
of
this
the
like
corner.
crazy,
Baston.
but
Yeah.
Then
Baston.
crossover Fallout.
but they originally were going to have it in Brooklyn,
Oh, really?
which is a different borough than Manhattan.
right.
So they were going to have it in Brooklyn, and somebody cited that as a like
We don't
we're
like
upset about this game because they originally announced it was going to be in Brooklyn and they changed it to Manhattan. And okay, I guess
No
maybe
sleep till Brooklyn.
maybe you live in New York and you live in Brooklyn and really like that concept, but to the rest of the country, we really don't care about the different boroughs of
Yeah, don't give a shit.
New
like
York's New York to me.
yeah, New York
Yeah.
is New York. Like we don't. I mean, I didn't really understand the boroughs until I really started following like comedy in the New York scene and started looking at maps to figure out what places they're talking about.
Well, when you have that many millions of people, they all kind of want to
Right, you hit
gravitate towards their own little individuality.
Their city within the city.
yeah, and then each one of those, like as you're exploring Manhattan in this game, you start to see the different areas like that I've heard of in New York, like Chelsea, or places like that. Like you have these zones that open up. Anyway,
Well, it sounds really cool.
so it has
Yep.
places.
We'll
It
see
does.
where it goes.
I'm impressed by how intrigued I am.
Yeah.
loving yourself.
I'm
No, I'm just
impressing
loving-
myself with my
I
Instagram.
know. I'm just.
I'm impressed at the game, but like I'm surprised. I'm not impressed. I'm surprised just because I haven't been too attracted to
Yeah.
a lot of games
I
that are
honestly
like
don't-
this.
I don't think it would be your type of game.
Yeah, I'd
I'm
probably
not
get
sure.
but
maybe like get out of it quickly kind
Yeah,
of experience for me.
One,
I'm not sure.
One thing that I will say
Just a
is
short dabble.
the environment
Little
is
dab.
extremely impressive. The graphics.
oh, it looks beautiful. We didn't even comment on that.
Yeah, it's
All this time.
That did
yeah.
look good in the
It's-
See,
video.
that's a
Just
good
real-
testament, though.
It is
I think to the
gorgeous.
it looks like New York has been
Yeah.
fucked up.
Yeah. And the sound effects are fantastic.
Yeah,
It feels alive, even though it's like a apocalypse. But there's people wandering the streets asking you for water, for
Yeah.
food.
Yeah.
Typical New York.
Nice.
There's dogs, birds. Yeah.
Give me some water.
Nice.
A lot. You hear gunfire off. It's very similar to Fallout in that respect.
Oh, that's
It's-
Where you
scary.
It
just hear
feels
stuff
like
in the
a
distance and-
living world. Yeah.
Nice.
That's cool.
That's awesome. So, looking at the clock, I think it's time for the R-quadded
Oh Jesus!
Oh shit!
already, which made me realize
We don't got one.
Yeah, we didn't discuss
random
this
question,
at all.
completely random question of the
Random in that we
day.
don't even know who's doing it.
Who's doing the random question?
Because just to re-inform the listeners, the random question of the day is somebody says, "I'm going to ask a question," so everyone else is surprised. It is random to them when it happens. We just usually know who's going to
Planned
do
ahead
it,
of time.
and they have it in their head. But right now, we don't have that situation.
That's true.
How many
All right.
gallons?
So
I got nothing.
Of urine do you collect when playing an MMO at
year.
large?
Nice.
Can you quantify?
Mom,
I guess
Batman.
I'll throw one out there.
All right, he's going to do one.
Since we're kind of talking about MMO, I know it's supposed to be completely random, but it's on MMOs.
Close enough.
Yeah, it's weird.
Gotta be random.
We had recently off air
It's all random at this
discussed an article that had basically stated that, and I think it was Kotaku. No, it wasn't Kotaku. Can I use an article I don't know how to reference?
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Don't sue me. We were talking about an article that is basically claiming that MMOs are, as a genre, are dead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So my question is whether or not you agree with that, and if you don't agree with that, what do you think it can do to kind of be reborn?
So I think it was a lot of it based on that new game that was coming out that was canceled.
Yeah,
The
EverQuest
whatever
next.
EverQuest Next.
Yep.
Which, whatever. I didn't even know that was coming out.
It was actually just
So I guess that doesn't speak well for the
Right.
genre. But
right. Well, just to quickly add on that, I wasn't really familiar with that either. Obviously, I'm familiar with EverQuest.
right, yeah.
But they were talking about why people were so upset that it was canceled. And I guess it was supposed to be this like an explodable environment type
Yeah,
world
groundbreaking.
in an MMO, which something that an MMO has never done before.
Yeah, players control more than anything ever before kind
Right.
of thing.
And like say you attack a tribe of orcs, which would be a regular quest or whatever, you're just wrecking these orcs that are being a pain in the ass. They'll actually migrate to a different area and set up camp somewhere else. And I thought that concept was really interesting.
That is.
Just a more living, reactive world.
Yeah, really malleable
But
kind of.
apparently it's really hard to do.
Yeah,
or
I can
expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they did not get that done.
That's
yeah, the
really
quote was
sad.
like, we found out that this is probably not going to be as fun as we thought. And then they canceled the game or
Yeah,
something like
which
that.
they didn't really
We don't
explain
think this is
that,
gonna be
and
fun.
I'm like,
I
it
kinda
sounds
get
pretty
that.
damn fun to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of get it though. I like if you're on the inside and you're just like you're creating and you're just like, this is so technical and so we have to be so rigid. We can't be that free, and it's just like it's not going to be fun. Because what if you're like, okay, they migrate? Well, where do they migrate? Well, we have 3 different places that they migrate to. Well, what if people decide to just group up at those 3 different places, like
And wait for the respawn or
Right.
something.
and wait for the respawn? So now you just have kind of a respawn system. Like, yeah,
That's a good
I can-
point.
Talked in circles for a while.
Maybe
Like,
it
this
did
isn't
play
fun for
weird.
us anymore.
I can see a lot of just logistic hurdles to something like that. I mean, and like how random do you want to code that? Like,
Right.
how much does it mess with everything else on the map? If everything's migrating or being affected, are you going to get weird crossover? Like, I can see that just being huge.
Right.
Sure.
Well, I mean, I guess to answer your question as originally posited, I don't think by any means that it's dying. I think my interest has waned personally
Sure.
in following all those MMORPGs like I did before. I think everybody's been waiting for the quote unquote WoW killer.
Oh yeah.
It's been going on for over a decade or whatever. So people just need to give up and accept that that's a great game, and it's always people are always going to love it for what it is, and you're never going to be
Genre
the WoW
defining.
killer.
I mean,
Be happy
Yeah.
that you have a few million players playing your game at any time, and stop whining because
Yeah.
you didn't
And-
hit 10 million like
Yeah.
WoW did at some
Agree.
point.
I agree completely with that.
There's still millions of people playing MMO games.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like
You don't have to make
all
$1
the genres
billion
over.
a year off a game for it to be successful.
Yeah.
Right.
So there was one pinnacle game that launched this genre into stardom. Yes, they did really well with it. You're probably never going to match that
Right.
because it's diluted.
And there are a lot of very successful games that use the MMO tag right now
Oh, yeah.
that exist. I mean, it's obviously a pretty steady genre. One thing that it's not like any other type of game genre doesn't have constant failures in development.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think EverQuest being canceled is any sort of sign of the genre itself dying.
Good point.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean,
There's
like there was that
terrible
awesome
games
Star
in every
Wars
genre.
bounty hunter game that looked incredible and was going to challenge
Right.
a lot of things
Yeah.
and
Right.
totally canceled. And it was sad, but like it didn't break action RPGs.
Star-
Like we're going to
Right.
have them forever.
Yeah.
On that same note,
Aw,
StarCraft
genre ending.
StarCraft with Nova, the ghost.
I was really
Yeah.
looking forward to that.
Like,
even
yeah.
though it was
Yeah.
like
Oh
it
yeah. Right.
became
That's
like
another
a
good one.
console game that they were going to release, and they didn't
Yeah.
release it. But at least they put her in the next launch of the series of StarCraft
Yeah.
2. So I was
Yeah.
pumped about
Honestly,
that.
I think the opposite. I think the opposite. I think that
It's a wise decision. You might hurt
Well,
the-
yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, I've kind of pulled out of that back to the original question to the death of MMOs.
Yes.
And I think I don't really have evidence that this will happen, but reading things like Ready Player One or looking at worlds where we're probably gonna create a whole nother virtual universe to exist in at some point.
Yeah.
That is an MMO in its essence, right?
Right.
You know, people getting into a virtual realm together and working together in whatever way that is. If it's VR or not, it doesn't matter. But I think that's what people want. I mean, MMOs provide a level of immersion that some other games can't. Maybe really, really AAA RPGs can. But, you know, when I'm playing an action game, I'm not so into it that I escape reality. But sometimes in an MMO, I would rather do chores in it than do chores in real life.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's
I think
a testament.
Tor, like because of the story and how well they did the story, I think Tor did that the most for me.
Yeah.
Was pull me in to play the character
And
because it truly had that RPG element.
I agree. Yeah, so I don't know. I haven't read that article, so I'm not sure what the arguments are, but I think this is around to stay, and I think WoW has shown its staying power alone,
Right.
and all these little babies that have cropped up and
Yeah.
grown into monsters.
I think I think much of their point was that it had grown stale and that it's going to be a lot of the same and there's not going to be any groundbreaking games coming out.
Right.
In
Yeah,
the
that was
genre.
part of the argument.
But the way I kind of see it is with how independent developers are becoming a bigger part of the scene, and I know an MMO is a huge project to tackle,
Right.
a lot
Yeah.
harder to deal with than your standard indie game. But as that becomes more a part of the scene, and as this generation, the generation that's growing up and becoming wealthy and starting their own businesses, they're gamers. A lot of them, I would assume. I mean,
Yeah,
More than the last generation.
Right.
pretty
absolutely.
much all the millennials.
and so
are
I think it's
gamers.
only a matter of time before someone just has that desire to create a new MMO
Yeah, I
that
agree.
has it all. And I don't know. I thought maybe Star Citizen might be something that does that.
I still have my eye on that.
They've been working on that forever.
Yeah.
And they seem to be making progress. Like they're getting close. They've released a few things and they've released their little modules and stuff. It definitely seems like they're making progress.
and if
Yeah.
it were just about money to them, it'd be out by now and it'd have failed by now.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
but it's obviously something they want to do right, and I think that one of those games will eventually revitalize the MMO genre.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Like for example, Dane, you were saying, we're going towards living in a virtual world. I think like I wasn't thinking about it, but you said Star Citizen, and that really because it really is like first person throughout, but like then you sit behind, you sit in the cockpit of a ship or behind the controls, and it's still kind of first person, but you're controlling the ship and everything. But then you can like get up and walk around a ship or get out and walk around a hangar, things like that. And one thing, were you done? Sorry, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. Because I wanted to jump into like, I'll give my opinion, even though you can probably guess it by now.
Hints.
But kind of my say is for example, like you said, we want to create a virtual environment. It's going to be one interesting thing about that is innovation is always kind of just inherently part of that is like, here's something different. But so when you said that, one thing I thought was we're going to, and this might be outside our lifetimes, but we're going to go from ordering stuff online, having it shipped, and then we go to like creating a virtual world, but maybe you're still ordering stuff online, having it shipped, and they're like, you want to get the feeling that you're actually going to a store?
Right.
And so you go to the virtual world and you go to a store and look at these
You're getting
products.
into like Ready Player One.
Yeah, you should read Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Should I totally? Okay.
Yeah,
They
totally.
go, I mean, the kid goes to school
in the
in
virtual
an MMO.
because it's
Yeah.
the most cost efficient way to give education.
Yeah.
So I guess
It
mean,
makes,
that's-
it's awesome. Like it's a cool.
I had a feeling my thought was not.
Oh, that it would
unique,
no,
but-
that it would
But you're
resonate.
right. Well,
though.
that's a different
Right.
approach. What you just said, which is also probably accurate.
But
Yeah.
that's just kind of like how I'll just be sitting
Who
there
wouldn't, though?
and,
Like,
and I'll see it that.
Do you want to
I see,
live in
like,
Middle
these
Earth
things
for 4
happening.
hours? Yes, I will pay $100 for that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
But the thing
Knowing
is,
that I don't die.
like with the shopping thing, it's like it's funny because it's like you could just physically go shopping like that,
Right.
But there are of
Well,
course.
I think people want opportunity for another chance, and
Oh,
a
yeah.
virtual world
Oh,
is a second life
absolutely.
chance, It's just like why some of these games are so appealing because, like, in Tor, you are a freaking Jedi. That's great.
Yeah.
Yes, I do
That
want
life
to
seems
procrastinate whatever it
awesome.
is that's going on out here
Yeah.
to go be that Jedi for one level. For a nice 2 hour
Speaking of
chunk.
that, I saw an article. This one was on our Kotaku. Speaking about the Star Wars virtual reality project
I
that they're
saw
working
that
on.
blurb, yeah.
That looks so cool.
The world is becoming dangerous.
Oh man.
Like I'm not sure how I feel about VR, but mainly because I get motion sickness.
Oh, no.
So I don't know how that will go.
Holodecks. That's what we need.
Right, but if it doesn't make me sick, I think the potential there is really cool.
As long as it's fully immersive,
Dramamine.
I want my hands involved. If my hands aren't involved,
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be immersed.
That's true.
And
That's
that's
a
my problem with the
huge-
Oculus Rift.
and yeah,
Any
and
bit of lag is also going to give you motion sickness, so it's got to be
Yeah.
really responsive
Right.
too.
Yeah.
And the thing that's a huge thing. Because one big thing is you might have the visual and the audio information, but you don't have that. You don't have the somatic. You don't
Yeah.
have the touch.
Right.
You don't
Yeah.
have both the measurement of your motor movement, and then also the feedback of having touched and grasped something.
Yeah.
So that's a huge hurdle.
Agree.
Ready
I agree.
Player
It's
One?
big
Virtual
for me.
reality.
The
Yeah.
high end users had full body suits
Yep.
that gave them sensory feedback.
Yeah, but there's
Yep.
you can go that route because like you could even do
And they just sat still, right? In Ready Player One?
Yeah.
Don't you like sit in a chair?
I think you moved. I can't remember.
Maybe the
I think
cha-
he
maybe
had
the
like this
chair
full
itself had
3D
full
treadmill
move-
thing that
Yeah,
moved
yeah.
underneath him based
That's
on
nuts.
what he was doing. Yeah,
This
he
is awesome.
he got some really high tech gear at some point.
Yeah.
that's funny.
Not to give you any giant spoilers.
that,
he got
that doesn't give
he got
much.
some gear.
that
Got some
concept
tech.
that
He lives
concept
in
of
a
the
place.
bodysuit's interesting because you can actually create electrical pulses that contract muscles to make it almost feel like
Oh, yeah.
certain touch and stuff like that. And also there's
I don't.
It's crazy.
I guess it depends on to what degree that. happens,
Don't you
but-
want to feel
It's gotta
the
be
flesh
really-
burning from your skin?
yeah no yeah that can be well
Experience the sensory.
We're having a
feedback.
malfunction here.
You got shot in the heart.
I mean
Oh
there's-
God.
Yeah.
that technology is used in medicine, like with TENS. It's called TENS. It's basically it kind of sends electrical pulses to flex your muscles and almost confuse the signal to your brain
Sure,
to alleviate pain. But
but
Huh.
with how often my headset breaks, I feel like if something like that malfunctioned, it could be really bad.
yeah,
Yeah, you're not so
That's
good
not a
with
quick
like the
plug in,
wearable
plug out, plug
wearable
in.
tech that Jarf do not mix.
grab the USB.
Did you try replugging in the USB adapter? There's no USB adapter. This is like magic.
yeah. One thing that I just wanted to mention
It's
is
electrocuting me.
I thought I turned
I'm
off the
done.
groin kick response.
This
It
reminds
ripped my
me.
eye out and ate it. I don't know how.
This topic line reminds me of the movie Surrogates with Bruce Willis. I don't know
yeah,
if you saw it.
that's been popping in
Where
my mind.
it's
big
similar to what you're talking about, except that they're mentally connected with like an android version of themselves that's actually out in the world doing stuff.
I hope we never do that.
Yeah.
That's
Well, they
the
just don't
worst.
want to go outside and have to do stuff themselves, so they just do it.
time. Yeah.
While
But they still
sitting
have to,
in the
like,
comfort of
think
their own
about
chair,
doing
thinking
it.
about doing it. With a robot
That's
body.
the worst. I hope we never.
But
become
the
that.
robot bodies
That's
look
like
like the
idiot.
perfect representation of themselves. It
Idiocracy,
makes them
yeah.
happy.
Just yeah.
The
I
inherent
feel so good about
paradoxes
their
here.
robots.
Ugh.
Real quick, just some real quick trivia that's somewhat
It's a good movie though. You
I've
should
never
see it.
seen that.
It's
Yeah.
good.
some real quick trivia that's somewhat interesting, at least to me.
Yeah.
Is and it relatively like I think it was a couple of decades ago, so relatively earlier, technological ability.
So like the 90s.
Yeah, 90s, which is so
Which is
weird,
weird.
to think.
20 years ago.
And like there were systems that just for like testing purposes and stuff that psychologists and scientists had made that for blind people where it had sensors on it, and then they had this kind of pack, like this big machine essentially against their kind of their stomach and torso.
Mm-hmm.
And what it did was it was similar to like a braille reader, like a mechanical braille reader. Like
Right.
it would just pop like little pokers, but it had like hundreds, if not thousands, of these little pokers, and it conveyed, once they like kind of trained with it, it conveyed information about their external world, so they could walk around, like the distance between them and a barrier coming up, and
That's so
also
crazy.
in like specific directions. So they started to substitute their somatic sense for vision of.
It's like learning a real time language of how to see the world around you.
Yeah, it really,
That is nuts.
really crazy. So I mean, there's technology there. I mean, that was likely a very expensive
It's
endeavor.
things like that make me so happy my eyes work.
Yeah,
Oh man,
yeah.
The world
is
would be
true.
a terrible, different place.
And
Yeah.
one thing, just to say, whether I think
Full of stabby
to directly
abdomen
answer Jarv's question about the MMO. There have been so many things that people have been like, this is the portent that marks the end of the MMO genre, and like I said before, like just kind of passing this has been going on for a while.
It's
like,
no different than the
like-
crazy doomsday people on the street.
yeah, and like you said,
The
Joe.
Sell all
eyes
your
falling.
possessions.
Like you said, Joe, there's always
The year
been
2000.
is this the WoW killer? First of all, I
Yeah.
thought that concept was stupid. It should have been, I liked WoW, and how much do you really want to kill it? And likely those people making the game played WoW and really enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
they don't want to kill
So
it. They love
it's
it.
more like the WoW space sharing
Yes.
Yeah.
alternate, like
Yeah.
yeah, and that's
Agree.
kind of what it is. Is like WoW does take up a lot of that space that
Right.
They
It has a
are
lot of users.
doing
that-
it
market.
right. Like they just
Yeah.
do it right.
yeah, and then
Like
and
they do it well.
Just keep doing it
they
right.
did
They do. I mean, everything.
do it right.
People. I mean, we know people that have played forever.
right?
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Forever.
Since its genesis.
which is impressive to me.
I think it's amazing. I
Yeah.
think it's super cool. What a relationship with a game. Like
Yeah.
that
20-year
is
anniversary
unbelievable.
in Ultima Online. That kind of thing.
That was insane.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That kind of blew my mind.
Make some chairs.
I kind of want to go
That's-
back and chop some trees.
Yeah.
For
How
the hell
many
of it.
chairs have those people made?
Yeah, make
Just
some
to honor
furniture.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're referencing that there was a guild in Ultima
That had their-
Online that had their 20-year anniversary, which is just
Yeah, I
nuts.
guess we should explain that to
Yeah,
people listening. Importante. So that about wraps it up for episode 19 of Rough Around the Edges. Thank you for listening. Check out roughneckgames.com. Google Plus, Facebook, Twitter.
stuff. YouTube.
All of those links are around.
Yeah.
And our YouTubes.
At Roughneck Games plus Roughneck Games, whatever the hell it all is.
Go to our website that I just told you and find all the
.org.edu.
clicky buttons at the top.
See ya.
Thanks.
See ya.
Adios.